Good morning, and it's not really it's not a very nice morning. It's kind of muggy, it's overcast, it's only about 8 in the morning, and I'm not super keen for this weather. Anyway, what I want to talk about is a bit more detail about what happened to my knee and how I got through it. So I'll just take you through, a bit about, what actually caused it, and then, what I had to do about it, and then maybe some of the recovery plan of getting that fixed and where I am now with it all. So let's go for a run and see what I have to say. All right, so many of you would know that this year, 2018, it's been a big year for me. I've pushed myself, I've had some big goals, and I've accomplished them. I've done what I wanted to get out and do, and spoiler alert, but in doing so, it meant that I had to push my body to new limits and take it to new places. So, having done 3 half marathons this year, having never done them before, obviously my body's going to need to change. So coming off the, all the mozzies are coming out, coming off the second half marathon, between May and August, I had increased my running volumes by about 40%. So that's almost doubling up what I would normally do in a month, per month, sorry. So coming out of that meant, I'm going to be tired, I'm going to be cooked, my body's overworked, and maybe I probably did a bit too much in a little amount of time. But it was after doing my second half marathon. I was kicking off a trail run, actually 15-kilometer trail run, and got halfway through, and that's when I felt the pain. The pain just popped out of nowhere, real strong, sharp pain right in the, don't know if you can see this, but right in here, every time bending this knee, every time doing this, all in here was all the sharp pain, and to the point where I sometimes couldn't even walk. So that was tough. That was a struggle. I didn't expect it, and from that it got me into a bit of a mindset where I was a bit worried of what was going to come. But obviously here I am now, so I got through that. But we're going to continue running, and I'll get to the next part of what I did about it and who I went and saw. So let's continue. All right, so after the injury actually occurring, the first thing I did was do the usual: elevate it, rise it, compress it, do the whole shebang. And I rested it for a couple of days, got back to the running. Started off okay, but then within a K or so, it's just flared back up. And oh gosh, there's some big mozzies. So basically I did that on repeat for probably 2 or 3 runs before I realized I had to get it checked out. So I immediately wanted to see someone as soon as possible, and the only way I could do that was to kind of go off someone which I knew. They didn't let me see my normal physio, without going for a GP appointment, and I didn't want to waste all the time, so I went and saw an osteo. I've been there before, and the consensus there was that I had pretty much got some tight hamstrings, some tight glutes, and it basically just needed to be relieved, which in some sense is correct. Anyway, so she did some needling and released that, and that was good. And I think it gave me another week of running. I was able to push out some more runs, and I was actually probably doing more of a speed than slow and steady. And the speed, actually, I didn't feel the pain. It was only when I was doing the slow and steady that it seemed to keep coming back, and that was because of the bending of the knee. Doing the faster pace, I wasn't bending as much, it was more. Anyway, so went back there a couple of times as well, and surprisingly she was saying, look, things seem to be okay because I kept running faster, so the pain wasn't there. But it kind of actually did disappear for a while, and at the same time I was resting as much as possible and trying to avoid putting any extra pressure on it. And surprisingly it was okay, and it lasted till my third half marathon. I was able to get out and do that half marathon, and I even got a PB on that. It was after that when things went south even more. So basically the pain came back, and this time it was a lot more heavier. and it was quite quicker to come to life as well. And that's when I realized, nah, I've got to see someone. I need to see a specialist. So I was referred to a specialist from Carla. She'd been there, and that will be in the next part of this video. So let's continue on, and I'll talk a bit more about what the specialist said. Halfway into the run, not too bad. All right. All right, so as I mentioned, I went and saw a specialist. I was referred to by Carla. That was in Melbourne, the Big Smoke. Went to see some big important specialist. No, he was really, really good. He was able to assess that I didn't have to worry about it, but you know, it was going to take some recovery, especially that I'm training for the 2-base trail run. So he told me it's just a classic case of ITB, and in terms of what I needed to do and the different things that was causing it, he said he would refer me to a good mate of his, a physio, which was actually closer to home. So yeah, he kicked that off, and I was there within the week or the next week. Seeing this physio really opened up my eyes, and he did say to me, and he was very blunt with me, but he was very honest in the sense that, you know, he's not telling me what I want to hear. He said if you want to get, he was saying if I want to fix this, I'm going to have to put in the hard work and I have to be disciplined, and you know, that I shouldn't be worried about this at the same time because it's just a classic case. But you know, he wanted to make sure that he's not just fixing me, but he's actually helping me, you know, become a better runner all round. And it's not a quick fix, but it's going to enable me to do bigger and better things for the future. And I had mentioned this already, that he's going to help me run individual of everyone else, but you know, focusing more on myself in terms of the way I run, how I want to run, and do the things that I want to be able to do. So immediately he you know, sussed me out, see what I could do, what I couldn't do, and he realized that there were some things wrong. And the first thing he said was it was my walking form, how I stand, how I direction my feet, and also that I had very weak glute muscles and very weak hamstrings, which I already knew, but he wanted to make sure that I was going to be, you know, building this strength back, but also fixing my form at the same time. There was also a weakness of strength in my muscles around the knee. So when I'm running, I was pushing out, and I'll explain all this a little bit, and I needed to re-strengthen those muscles. So basically, over a series of 1, 2, 3, basically over a series of 5 to 6 weeks, he gave me a bunch of exercises, and I'll take you through what these exercises were, what I was doing, and yeah, let's just jump over to that section now. So there you have it. Those were the exercises that I was doing, and they have helped. The other thing I want to point your direction to is my running and walking forms. So we're going to continue on running now, but in the next section I want to actually show you what my walking form was before and what my walking form is now, and also what my running form was and what my running form is now. Done and dusted, and as you can see, I've done a lot of work. Those workouts, they weren't easy. It's a lot of pushing. Trust me, you try it and see how it goes. And the other thing is, as you can see, the form has changed. Now, this is a work in progress. I've got to continue to do it, and some of these exercises, they're also micro habits, meaning I need to break some of the old habits and just put them in as micro things that I'm doing just as a normal day-to-day basis. So just the way I'm just the way I'm walking, just the way I'm sitting, and of course the way I'm running. But being mindful of those little things are going to make a huge difference when it comes to the running. And I've noticed this already. I also noticed that if I'm doing the strength conditioning training a couple of times a week, this is enabling me to run better and stronger when I run that week. So, you know, there's things to consider there too. All right, I hope I've covered what you guys have been looking for. If there's any questions, please do let me know, because I've tried to, you know, I've probably spoken a bit too much already, but I've tried to keep it short and sweet, but just enough to give you enough and a bit more of the understanding of how the journey's gone. And for those that are about to ask, so how am I now? Well, things are good. The physio said I don't need to come back until March. He basically said if I'm going back, I'm wasting my money. So he said, go train, go do the 2 bays, come back, and then he's got some new exciting things for me to not work on my knee, but work on me as a runner. And I'm looking forward to that. So, let me know what you think. Right, that's it from me. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, do the whole shebang, and hustle. And here's a sneak peek to the next video. And please, do subscribe and hit that notification bell.